Hi Andy, where are we?
We're at the Bradshaw Ranch outside of Sedona, somewhere that has been noted for paranormal phenomena and mysterious lights, bigfoot sightings, time slips, electromagnetic anomalies for several decades, and arguably much further back in time. It was originally owned by Robert Bradshaw, who was a famous actor, and this whole place was used as the set for various different films. People like Elvis Presley, Kenny Rogers, and various other greats from the old movies would actually come here, and obviously, you know, films would be made, so they'd stay here for a continued period of time. And this place is not easy to get to. It's at the end of a dirt track that is 8 miles long, and yet for some reason that this place has become a paranormal hotspot, a window area, if you like, in terms of John Keel's world, but also somewhere that we would see in terms of a vortex or indeed a portal location. So we're here today to try and find out why this place produces so much paranormal activity.
Right here where I'm set up with the magnetic sensing equipment, it is so geomagnetically hot, magnetically. If I walk within 10 feet of the computer, it detects the magnetism from my body coupling, they call it the local magnetic field, into the ground.
Right.
So I'm letting the equipment stabilize. I'm going to start recording, and then I'm coming to the porch and I'm just going to leave it run.
Okay, sounds good.
But geomagnetically, this area is hot.
Cool.
In fact, I had to reduce settings compared to Kachina. It was off the chart, so I had to reduce it. It's hot here.
What do you think that means, though, as far as the importance of Bradshaw Ranch to, you know, to strange activity in general?
Wherever you have unnatural phenomena, you'll usually find intense natural geomagnetism in the soil. At least that's what I've found in my 20 years of research. If you find a magnetic hotspot naturally within the earth, be it from the quartz crystals or from magnetite or whatever, you can expect to experience paranormal activity there. In order for a magnetic field to be produced, we know the earth has a magnetic field. Now we know, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quartz crystals beneath Sedona and that vein that runs here are also producing a magnetic field. And I record both. I see the Earth's natural field, and I also see what's coming from the quartz crystals. So my point is, another way to produce that magnetic field is to have current flow. So let's say that vein of quartz that runs from Sedona down here to the ranch, let's say here is a grounding point. Let's say Sedona might be one of the sources, and electricity is flowing down that vein of quartz and reconnecting here. Right. Current is going to flow, and when you have current flow, then you have magnetism. So that's my point. That validates the theory of ley lines.
Ben set up his magnetic monitoring equipment on that suspected vein of quartz or ley line, and Andrew seems to have detected that potential ley line right here.
Okay, we're just going across the earth here and getting a cross of the rods here, which I'm not quite sure what it means, but we'll carry on.
It's exactly where Ben set up, though, on that line. He had an intuition to set up there between the house and the windmill. Over here at Bradshaw Ranch.
I have your electrical discharge. I got a magnetic surge followed by a huge electrical, and it's powerful enough it would ignite something to create plasma. You were right. I've got magnetism here, but I've got electrical discharge also.
Can we see that, Ben?
Yeah, it's not running now. So come on up and I'll explain it. Here is a magnetic surge right here, and here's the electrical because it's one direction. And then here it did a discharge, reconnect, discharge. These are electrical firings, that's magnetic. That's how I can tell the difference. So now in Sedona, I saw no electrical. I saw all magnetic.
Can I ask when that actually took place?
I'd have to, this tells me how many seconds long and when it started.
Right.
I'd have to divide it. I'll figure out later.
Okay, and we can be pretty sure that this isn't
Human. No.
any interference.
Nope, not human.
Okay.
And it's strong. I had to reduce settings to look at it.
Yeah. I see what you're
It's
saying.
powerful. That's electrical, magnetic, and after the electrical we get a little magnetic discharge again.
Okay.
Geologically, it's hot here. Out here at Bradshaw Ranch, the energy I'm recording here, at least magnetic, is at least 3 to 4 times more intense than what I've recorded in Sedona. And if we were away from this red rocks, and we were like over in Cornville, or we were down where I live, that's primarily limestone, this would almost be flatline. You wouldn't have all this activity. If we had lightning going on right now, that's what the lightning would look like.
So you're saying
electrical.
that might mean there's plasma in the area, Ben?
That would be the trigger to create the environment to create plasma. Plasma needs electricity to function. And when we create plasma, or the military or whatever, they contain it in a magnetic field. So what is happening out here, I agree with Andrew, requires not only potentially the magnetic component, but also an intense electrical discharge to ignite or do something to create the media for plasma to appear or develop or interdimensionally come through a portal. But I'm delighted it's here. We've got it. Now we just need one intense enough to open the doorway.
Absolutely.
Because
Well,
I would think to do that it would take an immense electrical discharge.
Well, it's the way I look at it is it's a little bit like having a cigarette lighter and just flicking it on and creating.
Yeah, getting the piezo quartz.
It's like that's the trigger that creates the flame. And I know it's a different mechanism, but it's a similar thing. And once the flame comes into existence, as long as your fingers depressed on the actual lighter, the flame will continue. And it's the same really with plasma. Plasma has to sustain itself once it's manifested, and that could be for a microsecond as it just a flash, or it can be sustained for minutes at a time, or arguably even longer than that.
There's multiple things that need to happen in order for a portal interdimensional to open up and allow plasma, being, entity, craft, whatever, to come through.
Absolutely, I agree entirely.
It's more than just one thing.
A vortex, when counter-rotating and clockwise rotating, could create a portal, right? Could create a 0 point. You want to just tell Angie about that?
Counter-rotating...
Okay, hold on. Start over because I was talking, sorry.
If you have 2 counter-rotating vortexes, magnetic energy, and they're in the same area or preferably on top of each other, if they're both spinning opposite of each other at the center, that's called 0 point. That's almost like you're looking at a pinpoint of infinity. And when you're in that 0 point space, anything goes. You're in a whole different realm. It could be interdimensional portal opening at that point. Any number of things could happen. That's an adult.
Little people? I mean, humans aren't going to be walking barefoot around here.
And then what's that big mess right there?
Well, that's a big foot. Look, it has toes.
Is that like an actual...
Yeah, it's a
That's
print.
claws are bared.
Yeah, that looks like claws to me too. So these are deep, large footprint impressions in the ground that are left, right transition. So heavy that it pushes all, most of the rocks down into the soil and actually pushes the soil up. I mean, when we walk, look what my feet do to this ground. Nothing, really. I mean, this ground is really tough.
Okay, yeah, you left nothing.
And
So
then
something
it goes,
was left here because the soil is actually
and then
cracked.
the rain kind of,
You
The
see?
rain washed it a little bit.
fills it in with a little bit of silt after it rains. But it's here to there to there.
And you can see the sides of its foot, like here and
to
here.
here.
Look.
And then it
So
steps
which
again over
direction is
here.
he going, would you say? That direction?
Where's the next track?
Here.
Oh wow, you're right.
And then again right here.
Okay.
And then here again.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Helena,
Yeah.
It looks like another one here.
your multiple-toed critter is here.
Oh great, dinosaurs.
Right, we are looking in the vicinity of Bradshaw Ranch for any evidence of cryptids or human activity, and we've just come across quite a few pieces of what is probably Native American pottery. It's difficult to tell exactly how old it is, but this piece here, for instance, you can very clearly see the lines that have been created as the hand, the fingers go across the actual surface of the clay. And what this tells us is that there was quite a considerable amount of activity on this ranch before the Bradshaws reached here, and this probably goes back hundreds of years or even more. So this is interesting. Was this place a domestic dwelling perhaps in the vicinity that we're at, or was it some kind of ceremonial site? That would be very intriguing indeed if we were to find evidence that that had been the case. So we'll continue looking. We're getting towards sunset now, and we think that that's the time that the whole energies of the site may become active and paranormal activity could occur.
See when you got here.
Okay, now that was about a half hour after we got here. I went up to the vehicle, and when I came back down, I was looking inside of the house, and I turned my head, and out of the corner of my eye caught a shadow person, a figure of a human shape. They call them shadow people because it's just a shadow. I saw that walk on the other side of the room looking in through the window. Now, again, about an hour later, when the rest of you went off on another part of the property, I was up by our vehicle again. I came back down, and I'm standing here on the porch, and all of a sudden I heard something fall over in the house, and I assumed it was you and in the house doing something. And all of a sudden you come walking down the road, so it was just me here, nobody else inside the house. So I had an encounter with what I call a shadow person, and I heard something get knocked over in there when nobody was inside. So.
And then you just saw that a couple minutes ago as well, basically.
Less than 10 minutes ago. Ben was over there coming back from his equipment. I was listening to you guys, and through this window right here, I saw the outline of a person walk from right to left. And I was waiting a second because Ben walked up, and in my head I was thinking, could that have been Ben's shadow? But then I realized there's no sun, there's no shadow, and it was inside the house, not on the wall of the house. So it was just the same thing as he saw, and then he went over and checked his equipment.
And what did you find? That as when he saw the shadow person, what was happening on your
I
your
went
computer?
over and looked at the equipment, and there was at least 7 magnetic surges. And by a surge, I mean the magnetic energy up here I'm recording shot up. It went higher and then dropped back down again. So
just in the past 10 minutes or so?
during
that happened about 7 times?
Same time period that saw his shadow person. Now, either that shadow person was causing that by manifesting, or it's just natural geomagnetic activity here that helps and assists interdimensional beings or shadow people to manifest.
Yeah. I was drawn back into the ranch house because I could hear some knocks going on. So I came in and I called out to Bob Bradshaw, and there was one little knock. I called out to Kenny, as in Kenny Rogers, a story which we can tell, and there was a massive hit came from somewhere beyond the walls of the main living room. So I walked out of there, I walked into the corridor, and I was using the thermal camera, and I could see an object actually on the floor. It seemed to be several inches across, and I focused on it, and I thought, that seems to be moving. So I sort of called out to it, and it did move. It moved, shot across, and then shot backwards. Now, of course, this could have been a living creature, maybe a rat, something like that, but we've not been able to find any evidence at all of any living creature here, bigger than the size of a very small spider or beetle. So I'm not sure what was going on. We'll continue to monitor and see if anything else comes out of this room. But I reckon that this ranch house is the focal point of the phenomena and the energy associated with it. If it's going to gravitate anywhere, it's going to be in this place.
Okay.
I've never seen that. Here, this is the first time, and here you can see the magnetic surging in here. It's very closely spaced, but it's like surge, 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 boom, discharge. It builds up and then does a release. So you are absolutely correct in saying if you get a big enough electrical discharge, it could ignite plasma.
It could.
Very possible.
Yeah. Are they getting bigger, would you say, Ben?
They're getting more intense, yes. They are as strong. They're actually stronger than when you came up here before with your camera and your camera was interfering.
Okay.
So it's strong. They're intense. To me, what I'm seeing here, until I do an analysis on the big computer, to me this looks like within the Earth, something is happening magnetically because the magnetic activity increases, and then all of a sudden you see electrical discharge. So it's almost like it's building up until it releases the energy. Like a capacitor. You put voltage on it, and then when you short the wires, it discharges. It goes snap. That's what's happening here.
I measured Andrew's brainwaves at Bradshaw Ranch to see how the vortex activity there might be stimulating the human brain. So here we have a side-by-side with the Bradshaw Ranch brainwaves on the left and the baseline brainwaves on the right, which were taken on my couch. And as you can see, Andrew's delta and theta waves stay consistently higher throughout the Bradshaw Ranch readings than they are throughout the baseline readings, which I find quite interesting. Let's tell you a little bit about these delta and theta waves to see what type of benefits might be attained at Bradshaw Ranch. Delta waves are associated with stage 3 sleep and deep relaxation. They promote tissue regeneration and cell growth, improve immunity, reduce stress, and increase longevity. They improve cognitive function, and they also stimulate the release of several hormones, including growth hormone and melatonin. As for theta waves, they are referred to as the healing wave. They're associated with deep relaxation, meditation, flow states, creativity, sudden insights, intuition, empathy, memory retrieval, daydreaming, and lessened states of awareness of the physical world, such as in hypnosis.
And as you can see as I scroll through, it remains pretty constant. It's all about the same. Intensity-wise, which is displayed vertically. So that's here at Ben's, no red rock, no quartz deposits under the ground, and no vortex activity. And here's Bradshaw. Now, as you can see, we got bigger spikes. That's more intense magnetic activity. And as you can see, you got surges, dips, surge. So as you can tell, if you're in Sedona in the red rocks with all the quartz beneath your feet, you are getting very strong magnetic activity. And you can really see the difference here. Sedona is more intense magnetically because of the quartz crystals beneath it and the iron oxide, which gives the rocks its red color.